Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Knights, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. And if you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today, we are doing part one of chapter 52. So normally, when normally, I aim to write full chapters in each of my writing blocks, which means that as the writing block reaches its end, I look for ways to cut whatever I'm working so that it finishes as something of a chapter. I am mostly successful. This time I wasn't. I, I just couldn't. It's in the middle of a fight, and I could not come up with a way that worked for me to um, just end it. So it's gonna be a part one. Normally, I would have waited to record this until the other part is written and all that, but uh, I wouldn't have had anything to work on today. So, all right. So we are gonna start this. Where's my cursor? Do you need me to boost your healing? Silver asks as she helps me to the wall so I can sit and catch my breath. My health is surprisingly high, even with the underdog spell over. Nearly 2/3. I nod anyway. Just stay on guard. It's possible the sound is going to draw more of them. I can't have her be too relaxed about the situation. She looks into the darkness. Maybe I shouldn't then. I don't know if I'll hear the skittering over my violin. I'll keep an eye out for the movement. I smile. Just try not to get too wrapped up in your playing. You don't. Oh, you won't. You don't. Just try to not get too wrapped up in your playing. Okay, so wrapped up. So wrapped up in your playing, you don't hear me call out for you. Our first two attempts don't sound good. Then she takes a breath. Let it out. Let's let it out. Let's it out slowly, and a calm melody plays. My health bar pulses as I pull a healing bar from my inventory, then stops, and Silver stares ahead. Stares ahead of her. I just gained a level in the spell, she says, stunned. You must have been close to gaining it, I replied, then munched on the bar. You don't get it. I haven't practiced it as much as I should have. I still had a few hours to go before I'd reach level 10. Her eyes flake to the right, and she frowns. You're almost all healed. I raised a half-eaten bar. You didn't need me to play. Did you know this was going to happen? I didn't know you'd go up a level, but we're in a dungeon, so I knew it would speed things up. But we aren't fighting. I told you, it isn't the fighting, it's the danger. That's why you told me about the music attracting more spiders, she says, as if that's a revelation. You wanted me to still be afraid. I pointed that out because we are in a dungeon and there are spiders who react to sound. Being on our guard is more is just common sense. But yes, the added benefit was that you remained alert to danger, so when you played, your gain was boosted. I look at the spider carcass, and the implication of what I said sinks in. I really should be butchering them, if only for the level gain. I stand and, since my health is maxed out, wrap the bar and put it back in my inventory for the next time. I can't take them for granted since I only have 8 left. What about your damaged armor? I glance down at my leg. Leather legging. Quality, normal. Type, armor. Leg. A well-made piece of leather armor. Perception check failed. It dropped one quality rank. I'm going to need to buy a new set or spend a lot getting this one repaired. I crank the light and wince at how loud it is. It's nothing compared to the music, but I can't afford to be doing this while as we walk. So I spent a few minutes cranking it hard before we start moving. Remaining alert for anything, I notice the color doesn't quite match on a stone ahead and hides spider, level 6. Hide spiders are a class of spider which have developed the ability to camouflage themselves by using material from their surroundings. Perception check failed. I pointed to Silver, and together we locate 4 more. We formulate the plan over team chat, and Brandon doesn't butt in. We make quick work of them, moving in position silently, then each making sound in turn to split them up and confuse them. Things almost turn bad when one of the spider cuts Silver and she panics, but before the spider can do a lot more damage as she flays about wildly. I don't know if that's the right word. Skin peel part. No, I don't think that's the right word. She flays about wildly. I dispatch it, then finish off the last spider. She apologizes a lot, and I do my best to reassure her she did fine. But somehow, when I give her the rest of my bar to take care of her injuries, the silence turned awkward. Then we're on the move again and reach a bifurcation. And I shine the light from one path to the other as I crank it. Dennis. Brando? Really? Brandon, do you have a sense of how close to us you are? Can you see the light? Brandon. No and no. We're following the right wall, which should have us getting back to you at some point. Ellen. If this even reconnects with them. Silver. Can we not jump to the worst case scenario yet? I'm already freaked out enough as it is. Ellen. Sorry. It's just that the path, I've been taking turns after turns even when there weren't intersections. Brand says he knows roughly where we are from when we split from you, but I am utterly lost. Dennis, do you have some mapping ability, Brendan? Is that something we can unlock? Brendan, no, sorry. The best anyone can manage, as far as I know, are a few magic items that will compile maps. I haven't been able to afford one yet. Silver, should we stick to the left wall from now on? Brendan, it can't hurt. Dennis, have you encountered anything? Your bars haven't moved since we got separated. Brendan, Dennis, come on. I'm something like 4 times higher in level than what's in this part of the dungeon. They kill themselves trying to bite me. Ellen, as usual, he's exaggerating, but it hasn't taken much to take care of the spiders and the flies we've encountered. Dennis, okay, you be careful. Sometimes the level jumps unexpectedly. I looked at Silver. When there isn't a response, then Brendan, we will be. You be careful too. A jump like that is more dangerous to you than us. I keep cranking for a while before we proceed. Taking the left tunnel. We make it a triple train before the sound of something breaking in the distance stops us. I can't identify what it is, and it's still going on when we proceed with even more caution. The next indication we're heading for trouble is a broken spiderweb across the tunnel. It should have blocked it otherwise, and now the sound coming from the darkness ahead make me think of cracking nuts between my teeth. Silver's skin looks a little green, and I'm not exactly feeling good about what we're going to see, but our nod is resolute and our sword is steady. Instead of a bifurcation, beyond the destroyed web, instead of a bifurcation, it opens up enough. I can't see the other side. Mm, beyond the broken web. Beyond the broken web, and only make out one passage to the left of our out of the corner of my eye as my attention is drawn to the carnage to the right. 4, way too big centipede, are in the middle of what's left of a lot more dead spiders. Uh, 4, way too big centipedes are in the middle of what's left of a lot of dead spiders munching on them. Dungeon centipede level 7. Drawn by the abundance of food, these centipedes have been evolved by the dungeon to establish a balance. Perception check failed. Silver doesn't look as sure as before, and I don't feel overly confident. The level might be one below mine, but the smallest of them is as long as I'm tall, and the longest twice that. I also have no idea how tough. Oh, I know where. Okay. Um, Sidebar. I was I was wondering how to adjust things as I want the battle to get tougher. Uh, okay, no, I'm gonna have to. Well, actually, no, I can't because he stops after that. But yeah, like because he doesn't get the information on all of them, only the one he's focusing on. So I can establish that others will be higher level. Okay, cool. All right, that's going to work. Let's go back to the work. Silver doesn't look as sure as before, and I don't feel overly confident. The level might be one below mine, but the smallest of them is as long as I'm tall, and the longest twice that. I also have no idea how tough that carapace is. I focus on each in turn, hope for the best, and get lucky on the first try. Dungeon Centipede, level 7. Drawn by the abundance of food, these centipedes have been evolved by the dungeon to establish a balance. Perception check successful. Dungeon centipedes have carapace armor, but unprotected underbelly. Except that it's only unprotected if it rears up, and I don't see why it would. Dennis. Silver, you don't have to fight them if you don't want to. Brendan, you can do this. Dennis, butt out, Bran. Once we're out, you're telling me how I go about setting up private channels. I look at Silver. Dennis, I mean it. You aren't a fighter, and I'm going to have to get the underside to do. I'm going to have to get to the underside to do any kind of damage. I grin. Dennis, finally got a perception check when it matters. Silver, if I scratch the shell, does it still count as me taking part in the fight? Dennis, yes. You'll have scored a hit. Silver, then I'll do that. Maybe we can both take on the smallest first. That way I won't have to deal with all its attention. Dennis, good idea. I hesitate, then place the crank light down with the light shining into the cavern. Dennis, it's so you know where to retreat to. My ring is going to give me enough light to fight by. We enter the cavern silently and freeze as the centipedes stop eating. How did those things see? The smallest moves away from the spider it was eating and skitters. What am I supposed to call what all those legs are doing in our general direction? I move to one side and motion Silver to go to the other. Dennis, I'll attack first. Get a hit in and retreat. She nods. I look at the others to make sure they are staying where they are, then attack. The centipede is faster than I expected. It whirls in my direction, and I realize the pincers on its face are huge. It snaps forward, but I step back, slashing. My blade skids off at the carapace on the side of its face. I lunge, aiming for under the head, but it lowers it, and I barely take my arm out of the way. Move my arm, and move my arm out of the way before its pincer snaps shut. I try. I try again before. I try again before it can move. This time going for the head and hoping there are eyes where I'm not making them out. Something soft right in front of me is going to be easier than trying to get it to rear up. Its pincer snaps shut and I lose a tenth of my health. Fortunately, it's only the edge that cuts me. The way they snap closed, it can probably... Okay, cut. It can probably slice me. Slice me in two. Silver runs off, and I move around more. And I don't need more. I move around. Force it to follow me. Lunge, trying to get it to do something other than undulate out of the way. And yeah, this is where it ended. This is not, and I couldn't come up with, a couple of line in the time I had left. So yes, this is part 1 of chapter 52. If you are enjoying this, leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapters are going to be up, subscribe, hit the bell. If you want to read the story, it will be up on Royal Road when I do when the second part is done and compiled together. It will be up as one chapter. With the other chapters. If you want a different way to support me, that is on my Patreon, where we are about 10 chapters ahead. And if you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. The links are in the notes. And with that, I shall wish you a good day.